I don't know you, and you don't know me, but I think some of us were raised with accountability, and some of us weren't. And I think those of us that were raised with accountability, it's a different lifestyle. I think, in general, speaking generally, in America, a lot of girls are raised with more accountability than boys because girls don't get the excuse, well, boys will be boys. We don't get that. We are pushed to be responsible, to think about others, to be selfless, to sacrifice from a very young age. And if we grow up with an active father in our lives, we could be a daddy's girl, or we could have the kind of father that Elizabeth Pope had on Scandal. I remember when I watched Scandal, it was probably the first time that I had seen a father like mine on TV, because you have a lot of dads on TV. You have, the Bill Cosby, you have the James Evans, and all of them had a little bit of my dad. But Olivia Pope's dad, oh, that was my dad. And every time I would see a scene between him and his daughter, I would hear my daddy. And I've sometimes wondered as an adult whether men got these in your face talks with their dad, because the scene that comes to mind is when she had an affair with the president, or he might have been running for president at that time, and her father basically had her in this garage, and he was in her face, full veins bulging in his neck. What did I tell you? And she doesn't say anything. What did I tell you? I raised you better than this. And she says, I had to be twice as good. And he says, I told you you have to be twice as good to get half of what they get. And I'm going to stop the recitation there, but the in your face, no holes barred, no excuses taken or given. You're going to be called to the carpet. You're going to have to stand up for yourself. You really don't even want to look me in my eyes because I raised you better. Period. Point blank. And I don't care what you were thinking. I don't care what you were feeling. I don't care what your motivation was, your intention was. Your actions were this, and that is not what I raised you to do. And that was the kind of father I had. And I think I was never really afraid of what the world could do to me or would do to me, because if I ever messed up, I was going to have to face my daddy. Gulp. And no excuses would be allowed. So sometimes when modern men talk about accountability, I wonder if they've ever had that kind of face to face, toe to toe. You can't say anything to move me. Your actions speak for you, period, point blank. And you did something that is not acceptable. And there's nothing you can say. There's no manipulation. There's no weaseling out of it. There's no excuses. There's nothing. Your actions speak for you, period. And I just wonder sometimes whether men in general have had that kind of accountability, because sometimes when I speak to men, it seems as if they haven't. It seems as if they don't know what accountability is. They think it's shame, they think it's punishment, they think it's suffering, they think it's manipulation, or you wanting to get on their good side. They think it's a lot of things, but not just being held accountable for what you did or what you didn't do that you said you would do. So it's very interesting to me. I want to know your thoughts on this topic of daddies and accountability and men versus women, and whether women face more accountability as they grow up than men do. Just your thoughts. And I'd love for you to check out my other videos. I'd love for you to subscribe, like, share, and check out the podcast Synergy, Zennurgy. I do have books on Amazon, 5 books. Zen